Jaylen Rose starts by separating two crucial elements of this conversation: legacy and one-on-one ability. On one hand, Michael Jordan's legacy is untouchable in certain respects. He is 6 for 6 in NBA Finals appearances, a record that defines his career as the pinnacle of perfection. His dominance in the biggest moments is why many place him on the throne as the greatest of all time. However, Jaylen's point is that this kind of team achievement should not be mistaken as proof that Jordan would automatically beat LeBron James in a one-on-one matchup. Legacies are built on many factors, including the teammates surrounding a star, the coaches, and the competition in that particular era. Jordan's finals record is immaculate, but it exists within the 5-on-5 context of organized NBA basketball. In contrast, LeBron's career is still being written. He has already surpassed Jordan in longevity, all-time scoring, and versatility across multiple positions. Comparing legacies is like comparing finished artwork to one still being painted. That is why Rose insists on dividing the discussion. Legacy arguments are about finals wins, MVP awards, and the narrative arc of a career. A one-on-one game, however, is not about those accolades. It is about raw skill, physical dominance, and adaptability when stripped of teammates and strategies.
I'm never comparing legacy.
Okay.
The legacies are completely different. LeBron's not done yet. Michael Jordan undefeated.
Here, Jaylen Rose strikes at the heart of the generational bias in the debate. He acknowledges that almost everyone in basketball was raised to revere Michael Jordan as the standard of greatness. Like Mike was not just a slogan, it was a way of life. From sneakers to commercials to highlight reels, Jordan defined what basketball greatness looked like for decades. However, Rose challenges that nostalgic lens. He essentially says that admiration for Jordan should not blind people to the reality of how their game match up today. LeBron James, at 6'9" and nearly 260 pounds, combines the physical strength of a power forward with the agility and ball handling of a guard. In a one-on-one scenario, that physicality becomes a nightmare.
I'm not comparing the nostalgia of Michael Jordan. Like Mike, I get that we were all raised like that. You cannot tell me in a one-on-one game, though, that LeBron James wouldn't dominate Mike.
Jay Williams takes the discussion a step further by addressing one of the main criticisms often used against LeBron James: his mentality. Critics say LeBron is too passive at times, too focused on making the correct basketball play rather than taking over with killer instinct like Jordan did. In team setting, that argument carries weight. LeBron has deferred to teammates at crucial moments, sometimes passing the ball instead of forcing a shot. That tendency is what fuels comparisons to Magic Johnson as much as to Jordan. However, Williams dismantles that criticism by reminding us that this is not 5-on-5 basketball. This is one-on-one. In this context, there are no right plays to make for teammates. There are no shooters to pass out to, no rotations to exploit. It is simply about putting the ball in the basket and stopping your opponent from doing the same. That changes the equation entirely. LeBron's unselfish tendencies, while sometimes frustrating in team play, do not apply here. In a one-on-one scenario, there is no one else to rely on. It is all about him, and Williams believes that works to LeBron's advantage.
Now you can talk. Wait a second. You can talk about his mentality, but we're not talking about 5-on-5 basketball, Jay Rose. We're not talking about the passive LeBron making the right play, taking a knee.
Jay Williams argued that LeBron James would beat Michael Jordan in a one-on-one because of his size and guard-like movement. He exposed a major flaw in how people analyze greatness. They mistake physical traits for true basketball dominance. LeBron is undeniably big, powerful, and agile for his size. But basketball is not a contest of who looks better on paper. Basketball is about killer instinct, willpower, and the ability to rise in moments of suffocating pressure. Jordan had all of that and more. One-on-one is not about height or weight. It is about the ability to break someone mentally, to expose their weaknesses, and to impose your will. Jordan lived for that moment. He thrived in isolation, where the game boiled down to who had the guts to take the shot and bury it in your face. LeBron had never been that man. He passes out a clutch. He defers. Jordan did not defer to any.
Microphone that LeBron James to beat Michael Jordan
In a
one-on-one.
One-on-one match.
One-on-one?
LeBron James is 6'9", 260. He moves like a guard. He moves like a guard. He defends like a guard.
Jordan led the league in scoring 10 times.
Okay.
10. LeBron James led the league in scoring once.
Okay.
Jaylen Rose obliterated the LeBron comparison when he brought up the number. He reminded everyone that Michael Jordan was first team all-defensive 9 times. LeBron managed 5. That is not just a small difference, that is a chasm between someone who dominated both ends of the floor and someone who only dipped his toe in. Jordan lived to destroy his opponent not only with the ball in his hand, but also by suffocating them on defense. He wanted to crush your spirit on both ends, and that is why he is unmatched. LeBron never had that same sustained defensive dominance. There were years when he coasted. Jordan never coasted. Jordan never let his man breathe. Then Rose dropped the real hammer. Jordan led the league in scoring 10 times. LeBron has only done it once. That statistic alone shatters the argument that LeBron is on Jordan's level offensively. 10 scoring titles mean that for a full decade, Jordan was the most unstoppable offensive force in the game. That is not an accident. That is dominance.
I'm talking about a guy who's been the best offensive player and the best defensive.
Jaylen Rose drove the nail into the coffin when he said he was talking about a guy who was both the best offensive player and the best defensive player. That is the essence of Michael Jordan. He was the complete package. There are players who dominated offensively, like Kobe Bryant or Allen Iverson, but they were not the best defenders in the league. There are players who prided themselves on defense, like Scottie Pippen or Kawhi Leonard, but they were not the best offensive juggernaut. Only Jordan fused the two into one unstoppable machine. That is what separates him from LeBron James. LeBron is a great all-around player, but being all-around is not the same as being the best at both ends. Jordan was the apex predator. He could shut down your best player on one end, then torch your entire team on the other. There has never been another player in NBA history who was the undisputed #1 option on both offense and defense at the same time. That is why Jordan never needed a Game 7 in the final. That is why Jordan never lost once he reached the mountaintop. He left no cracks for opponents to exploit.
Question for you. Has Michael Jordan ever played against a guy like LeBron James? Ever in his career?
Has anybody played against somebody like LeBron
That's
James?
what I'm saying.
But
that's exactly what I'm saying.
When Jay Williams and Jaylen Rose brought up the question, asking if Michael Jordan had ever played against a guy like LeBron James, the undertone was clear. They were implying that LeBron's unique physical gifts and his versatility as a forward guard hybrid represent something Jordan never encountered. But let's unpack this carefully. The idea sounds powerful on the surface, yet when you dig deeper, it collapses quickly because Jordan faced a league full of killers, many of whom were far more physical and intimidating than LeBron has ever been. What makes this statement worth analyzing is not whether LeBron is physically imposing. We all know he is 6'9", 250 pounds, built like a freight train. The real issue is whether his style and mentality are genuinely unique in the history of basketball. The answer is no. LeBron may move like a guard, but Jordan actually was a guard with a scorer's mentality and an assassin touch. What separates Jordan's opponents from LeBron's competition is not size or athleticism alone, but ferocity and consistency. The Pistons bad boy with Isaiah Thomas, Bill Laimbeer, and Dennis Rodman literally designed an entire set of rules called the Jordan Rule to physically punish him every time he touched the ball.
Jordan have to learn how to be the alpha and the champion.
But we're not talking about that. We're not talking about the process of learning.
But we're talking about mano on mano.
Yes.
Jay Williams and Jaylen Rose followed up by saying Jordan had to learn how to be the alpha. But in the conversation of mano a mano, that learning process is irrelevant. Let's dissect that because it speaks to the essence of Jordan's dominance. The idea of learning to be the alpha makes Jordan human. He wasn't born as the greatest player alive. He worked his way into it through fire, failure, and pure willpower. That's what separates him from LeBron. Jordan didn't need a big brother to hand him the keys to greatness. He fought for it, clawed for it, and seized it.
Jordan had that championship instinct, that killer, that he didn't have to go learn it from Pat Riley and Dwayne Wade.
Jaylen Rose hit the nail on the head when he said Michael Jordan had that championship instinct, that killer within him. He didn't need to be taught how to win from someone like Pat Riley or by pairing up with Dwayne Wade. He had it built into his DNA from day one. This is perhaps the most glaring difference between Michael Jordan and LeBron James. LeBron had to learn how to win. He admitted it himself during his time in Miami. His first year with the Heat ended in embarrassment when Dirk Nowitzki and the Mavericks humbled them on the biggest stage. That was supposed to be the birth of a dynasty, but instead it was a harsh reminder that talent and hype are not enough. LeBron needed to learn, to be taught, to be molded by others. His greatness came with tutoring. Jordan was different. His greatness came raw, unfiltered, and immediate. Even when he was losing early in his career, nobody doubted he would eventually figure it out because his mentality was already championship ready. He was already ruthless, already wired to destroy opponents at any cost. The only thing he needed was the right pieces around him, not lessons on how to be a killer. That's why Jordan never had to join forces with another superstar superstar to validate him. He was the validation. When he finally had a squad capable of running with him, the championships flowed one after another with surgical precision. 6 finals appearances, 6 championships, 6 finals MVP. Perfection. And that perfection wasn't taught by Pat Riley, it wasn't gifted by Wade, it wasn't manufactured by player empowerment, it was forged in the fire of Jordan's own will. This is why Jaylen's statement carries so much weight. LeBron fans love to push the narrative of longevity, of stat, of all-around play, but none of those metrics can replace the instinct that Jordan didn't just want to win, he needed to win. Losing wasn't an option. That instinct can't be taught, can't be borrowed, can't be created by a system. You either have it or you don't. Jordan had it in abundance. LeBron, for all his greatness, had to learn it secondhand. That alone puts a permanent wall between them in the GOAT debate.
It's not about how you learned it. It's about the fact that once you finally have it, you use that in your arsenal.
The heart of greatness is not in how you stumble upon, or even in how long it takes you to figure it out, but in what you do once it is firmly in your grasp. That is what Jay Williams and Jaylen Rose are highlighting here. Once you acquire that killer instinct, once you know how to wield it, you either transform into a legend or you remain just another player with potential. But here's the difference that separates Michael Jordan from LeBron James. Jordan never needed a prolonged apprenticeship to figure out how to wield it. He stepped into the league, and from the very first night, he showed everyone that he already had that instinct baked into his DNA. His rookie season alone was enough to terrify veterans who had been in the league for years. He didn't need to finally have it after years of searching for it. He was the storm from the jump. LeBron, on the other hand, fits the exact category Jaylen and Jay are describing. He had to learn how to wield it, but even when he finally had it, it wasn't the same as Jordan. LeBron's acquisition of killer instinct came much later, arguably only after joining Miami, surrounded by Dwyane Wade and Chris Bosh, and under the leadership of Pat Riley's organizational infrastructure. That's when people started saying LeBron figured it out. But should we even be talking about figuring it out when we are comparing him to the greatest competitor the game has ever seen? Jordan's greatness wasn't a process of eventually becoming a killer. He was always the killer. And when he finally had a supporting cast around him, the rest of the league paid the price. Think about it. When LeBron finally had it, how did he wield it? He wielded it in Miami, where he lost in 2011 despite having a superior roster. Jordan never needed a final. By the time he had Scottie Pippen, he was already taking down dynasties, humiliating Hall of Famers, and changing the trajectory of franchise. Jay and Jaylen's comment might sound like a neutral observation, but when applied to this debate, it exposed a gap. Because with Jordan, you're not talking about someone who had to learn how to carry the weight. You're talking about someone who had it from day one, who sharpened it, who weaponized it, and who used it relentlessly to dominate every opponent in his path. So yes, maybe it's not about the learning process, but about how you use it once you have it. But here's the uncomfortable truth for LeBron fans. Jordan's version of having it was an entirely different beast. LeBron used his in spurt. Jordan used his in every moment, every game, every series, every finals, and that's why Jordan never lost on the biggest stage, while LeBron has.
I'm going to take the guy that always had it.
What were
The
you
guy
thinking?
I saw make a jump shot and win.
correctly.
I saw the guy that win a championship in college that had it then. The guy that had it in the league his entire career.
This is Jaylen Rose drawing a line in the sand. He is saying, without hesitation, give me the guy who always had it. Give me the guy who didn't have to be manufactured by circumstance, molded by others, or rescued by teammates. Give me the guy who carried that killer aura from the moment he picked up a ball to the moment he retired. That guy is Michael Jordan. And this is the key distinction. Jordan didn't need to become something. He already was. LeBron had to evolve, grow, adapt, and rely on outside factors to shape his competitive edge. Jordan was born with it. Jaylen brings up another layer that people conveniently forget when they try to elevate LeBron's case. Jordan's championship pedigree existed before the NBA. He was already a proven winner in college, hitting one of the most iconic shots in NCAA history to win a national title for North Carolina. He had it before he even stepped onto an NBA floor. LeBron skipped college, and while his high school dominance was undeniable, it never carried that same weight of having already conquered the collegiate stage at the highest pressure moment possible. Jordan had the DNA of a champion baked in before he even declared for the draft. Now let's put this into perspective. If you were picking a player to build your franchise around, would you take the one who always had it or the one who had to learn how to develop it halfway through his career? The answer is obvious. Michael Jordan never fumbled with his mentality. He never had to search for that inner fire. It was always there, and that's why his legacy is untouchable. LeBron fans might argue that he also always had it because of his dominance in high school, but dominance without the killer instinct is not the same thing. We all saw what happened in 2000 2011 against Dallas when the pressure peaked. That was not the reaction of someone who always had it. That was the collapse of a player who had to learn what it meant to close. Jordan never collapsed on that stage. That's why when Jaylen Rose says he'll take the guy who always had it, he's exposing LeBron's greatest flaw. His greatness required external shaping, while Jordan's greatness was innate, natural, and relentless from day one.
Tell you some of the people that people forget Michael Jordan played against. He was dominating the league when they had a Celtics dynasty, when they had a Lakers dynasty, when the bad boy Pistons were there.
This is where Jaylen Rose drops the hammer. Context matters. People love to inflate LeBron's competition, but let's not rewrite history. Michael Jordan was dominating during the peak of dynasty. He faced the 1980s Boston Celtics, loaded with Hall of Famers like Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, and Robert Parrish. He faced the Showtime Lakers with Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and James Worthy. He went through the Detroit Pistons, one of the most physical and brutal championship teams ever assembled. These were not fabricated super teams created by free agency manipulation. These were organic dynasties. Legacies carved out through toughness, chemistry, and greatness. And Jordan conquered them all. So when Jaylen asks that question, the silence is deafening. LeBron's best opponent doesn't stack up to Jordan's gauntlet. That is why Jordan's 6-for-6 record means more than LeBron's finals appearance. Jordan didn't just win. He won against giants. He toppled empires. He ended dynasties. LeBron, for all his greatness, never had to slay giants the same way.
Who's the best opponent LeBron James has gone against?
At the end of this debate, what stands clear is not just that Michael Jordan is the greatest of all time. It is that the very fabric of his greatness is woven differently from LeBron James. Jordan didn't need to learn how to be a killer. He always had. He didn't need teammates or coaches to teach him the instinct. He brought it with him into every arena. He didn't need to prove himself by finding the right situation. He proved himself by destroying the greatest dynasties the NBA had ever seen. LeBron James is an all-time great, no doubt. But as Jay Williams and Jaylen Rose's words reveal, his greatness was learned, developed, and aided by contact. Jordan's greatness was eternal, innate, and undeniable. That is why when you strip away the narratives, the hype, and the excuses, the truth remains. Michael Jordan is the standard. He is the bar. He is the GOAT. And LeBron James, for all his brilliance, can never surpass